So it comes as no surprise, I've stated this loud and clear, Parliament is no friend of yours. They are not on your side. They minimize against you. And once again, this is proof of it. So conservatives to call on Liberal government to stop taxing food as Carney heads to London for more high-level meetings. So they brought to the House of Commons on a vote to stop food taxation, the carbon taxes, the high grocery prices that people are facing that is causing massive dilemmas within the entire nation, that people can't afford the basic necessities like food in the country, on top of all the other costs of living, cost of inflation, cost of everything else. And there was a conservative motion to bring that to legislation. Well, they brought it to a vote, and guess what? According to Mark Nixon, breaking, Liberals and Greens just voted to keep taxing your food. Canadians are skipping meals, food banks are overwhelmed, and these clowns said yes to higher grocery bills. Next time you shop, thank the Liberals for the price tag. So, a conservative MP brought a motion to a vote to cut back on carbon taxes, to cut back on the things that are making grocery prices astronomically insane, especially for, families of 4 or 5, try to feed them is absolutely nuts, let alone one person. And the Liberals, the Green Party, the NDP, all of them voted to keep the taxation, to keep the carbon taxes against you. And here's what here's the breakdown of what happened in that moment at the House of Commons. Watch this.
All those opposed to the motion will please rise.
Mr. McKinnon-Gatineau.
Mr. McKinnon-Gatineau.
Mr. Ali.
Mr. Ali.
Madame Diab.
Madame Diab.
Mr. McDonald-Malpeck.
Mr. McDonald-Malpeck.
Mr. Lightbound.
Mr. Lightbound.
Mr. Robertson.
Mr. Robertson.
Ms. Thompson.
Ms. Thompson.
Madame Michel.
Madame Michel.
Mr. Guilbeault.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Ms. Olszewski.
Ms. Olszewski.
Mr. Solomon.
Mr. Solomon.
Mrs. Valdez.
Mrs. Valdez.
Mr. Duclos.
Mr. Duclos.
So these are all the nays.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Ms. Fry.
Ms. Fry.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Fragascatos.
Mr. Fragascatos.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr. Vancouverden.
Mr. Vancouverden.
Madame Provost.
Madame Provost.
Ms. Sahota.
Ms. Sahota.
Mr. Belanger, Desnethi, Mississippi, Churchill River.
Mr. Belanger, Desnethi, Mississippi, Churchill River.
Ms. Chartrand.
Ms. Chartrand.
Mr. Garrettson.
Mr. Garrettson.
Ms. Anand.
Ms. Anand.
Ms. Alti.
Ms. Alti.
Mr. Sarai.
Mr. Sarai.
Ms. McLean, Esquimalt, Senate Sook.
Ms. McLean, Esquimalt, Senate Sook.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Zericelli.
Mr. Zericelli.
Madame Chenette.
Madame Chenette.
Ms. Latanzio.
Ms. Latanzio.
Mr. Nakvi.
Mr. Nakvi.
Monsieur Miller.
Monsieur Miller.
Ms. Jasek.
Ms. Jasek.
Ms. Scrow.
Ms. Scrow.
Mr. Duguid.
Mr. Duguid.
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Madame Chatel.
Madame Chatel.
Mrs. Romanato.
So these are all the people that voted against the opposition motion to stop the increase of taxation on food, taxation on groceries. These are all the people that said no. From the Liberals, the NDP, and the Green Party that want to continue on this carbon tax scam to funnel in more money for themselves. While, as Mark Nixon pointed out, Canadians are still struggling on basic essentials. There's lineup at the food banks. People are skipping meals because of how high it is, the affordability to feed yourself, to purchase necessities. And all these people voted against it. All these people.
Romanato.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Assassi.
Mr. Assassi.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Bardisi.
Mr. Bardisi.
Madame Kayabaga.
Madame Kayabaga.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Madame Brière.
Madame Brière.
Mr. Kellaway.
Mr. Kellaway.
Mr. Gay.
Monsieur Gay.
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Ramsey.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Madame Koutrakis.
Madame Koutrakis.
Ms. Chi.
Ms. Chi.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Chen.
Mr. Chen.
Ms. Dillon.
Ms. Dillon.
Monsieur Fergus.
Mr. Fergus.
Mr. Fonseca.
Mr. Fonseca.
Monsieur Lauzon,
Monsieur Lauzon,
Mr. Maloney,
Mr. Maloney,
Madame Desrochers,
Madame Desrochers,
Mrs. McKelvey,
Mrs. McKelvey,
Mr. Gasparo,
Mr. Gasparo,
Mr. Blois,
Mr. Blois,
Madame Bendayan,
Madame Bendayan,
Madame Fortier.
Madame Fortier.
Okay, so you get it. You get it. A lot of people voted against this. I don't know what the exact outcome numbers were. But it again just goes to show you the parliamentarian, this government, does not give a damn about you. Does not give a damn about you. Even the simple notion of grocery pricing, they still want to exceed. They still want to extend it to make it unaffordable. Because all these random taxes, the carbon taxes, the mass inflation, all the spending, all the craziness that goes on with the economy here is done intentionally. It's done intentionally in benefit of them, but not for you. And as been pointed out before, people like Tokyo Rosie says, of course, Canadians are worse off from the carbon tax. It's a supply chain tax that increases the cost of everything we consume. The government wouldn't implement such a tax if it didn't bring in revenue. Only effing idiots believe paying more taxes makes them richer. So all the time that, Justin Trudeau and the liberal establishment try to convince you to say that, no, paying carbon taxes, you get more of the benefit. Remember they said that you get more in the rebate than you put into it. But that was not the case. That was not the case. And she's linking to this article, this is from the National Post, that said corrected PBO report finds carbon tax leaves most Canadians worse off even as they get more back in rebates. So it doesn't help this country. It doesn't help the country. It doesn't help the environment. The carbon taxes are literally a scam to take more money out of the pockets of taxpayers for the Green Slush Fund, for this scheme to implement and try to design measures for the environment and climate change when it's not even doing that. It's there as a way to steal more money from Canadians. And the carbon taxes that people thought that, Mark Carney's getting rid of, how great that's going to be. No, Mark Carney did not get rid of the carbon taxes. He took it away out of sight from the public and put it to private companies. Except private companies, when they get taxed with the carbon taxes, they're still going to put you the bill. You're still paying for it. They pass that expenditure to you. So you're not being carbon taxed, but the companies and the supply chains, the truckers, all the grocery stores, all these people are getting taxed with it, and then they're putting the cost onto you. You become the burden. You're now paying up more because they have to pay up in this Ponzi scheme. And you just saw the Conservatives, the Liberals, the NDP, and the Green Party. All the people that said nay, all the people that went against a simple motion to try to combat the pricing of groceries, the cost of living, and the unaffordability in this country. Here's Chris Sims, says, read and share. Mark Carney's carbon tax plans are so crazy, you need to read them for yourself. Carney wants to hide the cost of the carbon tax from you. He would nail power plants and refineries with carbon tax, and they would pass the cost on to you. That's what happened. They didn't take away carbon taxes. They just reinvented it and took it out of sight of the public and put it towards the industries, the manufacturers, the department stores, that you're still paying for it, but you don't know about it. Second, he scrapped the cash rebates and made you make you earn his green points instead. When you pick from a bunch of government-approved gadgets instead of getting any money back. Latest in the Toronto Sun. She's relating to this article here. where it says Carney planning to hide the carbon tax from Canadians. That's what he did. So this idea that he was getting rid of it or he was going to be any different than Trudeau, no. He's worse. He's worse. Trudeau was awful for implementing a carbon tax, thinking that it was going to help with climate change. But this guy, Mark Carney, is worse. And this is all part of his net zero initiatives. This is all part of WEF. This is all part of a globalized scam to suck the money out of Canadians and implement this as a social credit measure that now they're going to track and trace your carbon usage. Oh, you've been going from place to place, you're traveling to places, you're buying certain foods. We can't allow that because you're over your limit on the use of carbon. That's what's being implemented. And this is causing a lot of the dilemmas that are happening in this country. Here's CBC Watcher. As an executive and central banker, Mark Carney was a leading voice urging the business world to fight against climate change. As Canada's prime minister, he is doing everything he can to pump more oil and gas. Since taking office in March, Carney dismantled many green policies introduced by his predecessor, Justin Trudeau. He scrapped an unpopular consumer carbon tax, paused a 2035 electric vehicle mandate, and enact a law gifting his cabinet authority to override environmental rules for infrastructure projects like oil pipelines. So, we just showed you that he didn't remove the carbon taxes. He just transferred them to the industries. You're still paying for it. He took it out of the light of the public. And we know that with Brookfield, that they're the ones funneling a huge amount of subsidies for oil and gas reserves in foreign countries. Brookfield is one of the highest investors to a coal plant in China. And while they're telling you that we can't build pipelines from Alberta to the rest of the nation because of environmental damages, just note that Mark Carney, Brookfield, and the liberal establishment have invested huge amounts of money to transfer foreign gasoline and foreign oil and resources from other countries, transfer that into Canada because they have a huge return back in their investments. This is all about screwing the country. It's not about environmental practices. It's not about climate change. It's all about sucking the essence of the dignity and value of Canada for their own privileges, for their own perks, for their own investments. That's why Mark Carney is the perfect prime minister to do that. He's a private equity master, meaning he's going to come in, suck out the Canadian economy, dry people up, completely topple the very identity, the very culture that is Canada, and rebuild within. That's what he's doing with this. Here's Wall Street Mav to point out. So they just voted in the House of Commons to not decrease the cost of groceries. And just to remind people, this is a line at one of the food banks in Toronto, Ontario. Canada has a record 2 million people a month eating food at food banks. Most of these people have jobs and can't afford the cost of living crisis in Canada. Justin Trudeau needs to go. Canada used to be a wealthy country where these things were rare. And the only thing is that Justin Trudeau's gone and we have someone even worse. Mark Carney is worse than Trudeau. This country is not being saved. It's being deteriorated by someone like Mark Carney. And now we're seeing even more people lining up at food banks because of this. Because of a measure that the establishment, the parliamentarian government refuses so ignorantly to acknowledge that the carbon taxes are not helping this country. It's not helping people. It's a complete scam. It's pickpocketing. It's kleptocracy against taxpaying Canadians. And it's not helping anybody. And it's making the situation worse. Here's CBC News. It says struggle meals and hamburger helper are trending because food is so expensive. A quarter of Canadians are struggling with food insecurity, says Food Banks of Canada. So they're saying that a lot of prepackaged meals that used to be very rare in only certain circumstances, like if you were a family that had a busy schedule or whatnot, you would go for this. They're saying that a lot more people are going back to this budget-friendly, over-processed food because regular food is too expensive. That's why you're seeing a lot more Dollaramas pop up periodically. There's one at like every corner because Dollarama is profiting off the fact that no one can afford regular food. Go figure. So here's this woman, Victoria L. 59. You see, the use of struggle meals was never a thing. We had hamburger helper and craft dinner as a treat once in a while with our girls when they were little. Busy schedules and such. And I just want to clarify, craft dinner is Kraft macaroni and cheese. That's what we call it here in Canada, just for my American viewers. Today, these are a staple at the dinner tables of many Canadians. Sadly, despite some of the food actually tasting yummy, eating this on a regular basis promotes bad health, obesity, and bad teeth to start. Yet we are here. So, this is leading to a health crisis because so many people have to rely on these over-processed, highly toxic, highly chemically induced processed food that's not good for them. That should only be on certain basis. And the more people have to rely on that as a means of nutrition, it's going to further damage their bodies and further damage their health, which is going to cause another crisis. So this is a domino effect, ladies and gentlemen, that people can't afford, fruits and vegetables. People can't afford real meals. They can't afford to cook actual, legit meals and have to resort to this because of the high cost of things like groceries, which is essential for any civilian within Canada. And because our parliament, our politicians are so ignorant to this factor, they're making, 5-6 figure salaries and getting bonuses on the regular for continuing to screw us. They don't see how struggling this is. They don't see how bad this is. They don't see what's going to come later on if they don't fix this. Here's another instance that I want to show people. Remember, we covered this? This is the ugly potato day. So a farm in BC that has a bunch of produce that they harvest that's not good for grocery stores or for big box chains, whether it's, deformed or whatever. They then sell it or give out to potential buyers. So people go to this farm in BC to collect a bunch of produce that maybe just deformed or just don't look as pleasable to sell in a regular box store, and they get a cheaper rate. And this event that used to be, kind of few people, that now has crowds of thousands, because a lot of people have to resort to this as the only way to get fresh produce, as the only way to get fruits and vegetables. It's either this or canned, which you don't know exactly how they're canned or how they're made and consumed, if there's other additives or whatnot, to potentially make you worse. So, this is the struggle, ladies and gentlemen. This is the struggle that many Canadians are facing with every single day. And your government voted against it. Your government voted against a simple measure that would inevitably make groceries just a little more affordable. A little more affordable. And it's funny how they mentioned right before Christmas of last year, Remember Justin Trudeau put a pause. Remember the tax pause that they put onto groceries? They put onto consumer goods, certain consumer goods. They put a pause on the GST, HST, and PST on purchases. That was only temporarily. Why was it only in that case? Why was it only for a certain limited time? And why did they not then look at that and say, hey, we should then cut the carbon tax, because that is what's making this, making food unaffordable, is the domino effect that you're charging people thinking that it's going to save the planet, but really it's making a cost burden onto everyday purchases because of the domino effect, because you're putting it onto supply chains, and then supply chains carry that onto the consumer, meaning you're paying for the carbon tax. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So there you go. Liberals and Green Party and the NDP coordinating together to vote for a higher grocery bill. A simple notion that they are so ignorant to. And you know, I give credit to the conservatives for even mentioning this. Here, Polyev mentions numerous times in the House of Commons the lineups at food banks, how food insecurity is running amok in this country. And what's the liberals' response? You get Chrystia Freeland going up and saying, well, we went to a school and we fed a kid a juice box and a sandwich and a banana. So pat us on the back, okay? We did everything we could. That's what you get. You get a PR stunt, not an actual solution to a problem. You get PR. And this is what you get from a parliament and a government that completely has no respect or tolerance for any one of us.